Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Believe in Tennessee Football. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Curvison, joined with Reed Bacon. Got a great one today. Have a few buddies come on, former VFLs, Jack Jones and Josh Dobbs. We reminisce about the playing days, what Jack went through with his injury, some of the ups and downs that Dobbs had to deal with while he was there. And they come on and promote their camp coming up in Nashville. Jack is running a football camp for the youth on June 19th. So everyone go check that out. And let's start the show.
The game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir, Reed. No, sir, Reed. Final score: Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Loads up, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee. Tennessee wins! Caught by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch in the end zone on the Hail Mary.
Down at the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey Pence, touchdown on play number 1.
All right, so before we jump into the show, got to shout out our main sponsor at Bet Online. They've been supporting us from the beginning, so they're a great company, great place to make all of your bets. You got the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, you got golf going on right now, so a ton of things to bet on, and Bet Online is the place to do it. They're going to have all the news, all the stats, all the best odds. So head on over to betonline.ag or download their mobile app, and you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, your online sportsbook experts. Okay, welcome in, everybody. So excited for these special guests that I have. It is a former quarterback of mine and a former offensive lineman. It is Jack Jones and Joshua Dobbs. How are you guys doing?
Doing awesome, man. Thank you for having us.
Glad to be back, Kyler. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. So I want to start off the bat right away. Jack, I know you got a camp coming up here in Nashville, Murfreesboro. So I want you to promote, say what you need to say, age groups, time, how can people find it, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So June 19th, we're having the first Jack Jones Youth Football Camp with special guest Josh Dobbs, actually featured here on the podcast today. But we are doing ages 6 to 14 at Oakland High School. It starts at 9 o'clock, finishes at 12. You can register at www.jackjonesfootball.com. We really want a lot of people to come out. It's going to be great. Kyler, I think, is going to be able to get out there. Josh is going to be out there, and we're going to be actually, we're going to be out there sweating, working, getting the kids right, having fun, and just, I feel like Middle Tennessee football has done a lot for me in my life, and I just wanted to get back there and have some fun with the youth, the next generation of ballers out of Middle Tennessee. Doesn't have to be Middle Tennessee. You can come down from wherever, but I'm excited, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you're pretty legit with your own domain name.
Dude, I know, man. Yeah. Hey, you know me, man.
went from
cyber wizard over here. I'm a cyber wizard, man.
Went from a long-haired Tarzan-looking guy to, fresh cut. He's a salesman. Now he's got his own domain name. Just moving on up.
What's next? I'm crypto. I'm getting diverse in the crypto world.
Don't even talk about
shout out Thomas Edwards.
Okay,
crypto God.
Shout out Tom. Big crypto guy. Hey, I was a long hair guy for a little bit too, Jack. So I feel you, bro.
Yeah, you never know when it's going to happen in people's lives, but mine was just couple of years when I was playing a little ball back in the day, and it'll never happen again, but it was a nice ride. Great ride.
So let's touch on your playing days. Something that I am still confused on. I don't know everything that happened because it happened after I left, but the injuries that you had, the fact that you had to, give up football. Josh, you haven't gone through this before, but when you have to hang up those cleats, it's tough. It is a tough day. So take me through what was going on in your head, like your mental state, and exactly what happened. What was the injury that took you out?
For sure, man. Yeah. So I had cervical stenosis in my neck, basically narrowing of my nerve canals where they're supposed to be like this, and they shrunk, they were narrowed down, and I was getting really bad. And like, if you've ever played football, listeners, if you've never played, it's okay. But if you've ever played, you know what a stinger is. I was getting like, it wasn't like one here and there. Like I was getting like 10 every practice. Like it was like, all right, this is not like normal. And it was miserable because like my arms would go numb and then you're just kind of stuck there for a second. You're on team drive. Like I remember the last time I got one, it was like the last like really bad one was like team. We were going through it and like I kind of fit up with Colton. It was like a Wednesday practice. It wasn't anything crazy. And my neck just kind of went like this. And then like everything. And after that one, it was like, all right, we got to get this checked out. And then met with a specialist in Knoxville. He said I need to be done now. And then I was like, well, let's go. Let's, is there anybody else? Let's get a second opinion. And then went down to the NFL guy who's like the number one neck guy in the NFL. And he was like, yeah, you're done. It happens. It's like you like it to be on your own terms. And like, obviously I'd like to like have gotten a shot to keep playing, but it happens for everybody at some point, somewhere or another, like it's going to be over. And I think really kind of coming to terms with that, it took me a little while, but when I finally did, and I found purpose in other things and realizing my identity is not just through football, even though like I had great parents growing up, they were awesome. They told me like, hey, they made me take school seriously. They really challenged me, but if you still like when you're doing something every day, when you're playing ball every day and you're with the guys every day, and that just is done. Cause I chose, like, I was like, I knew I didn't want to be a coach. I was like, I don't want to just be hanging around GA for 2 years. Like, I'm just going to go do school. And, but when you lose that, you do look like you lose a little bit of your identity. It is part of your identity. So, I think kind of now getting into a job, getting working, doing something I love, and then stuff like this, being able to do a camp, come back and talk to the kids and just get back into it a little bit. Those are little things that you kind of look forward to and keep going with. But, even if you just played through Friday night, like if you just played in high school and you had to hang it up, like it still stinks. Like everybody misses football. It's awesome, but I'm just glad to be here. And, man, and glad to have the opportunities I did at Tennessee. Like I got to play in some big games. Got to play with guys like Kyler Kervison and Josh Dobbs. And I grew up a Tennessee fan, wanted to run out of the tee, and I got to do it. And like, it wasn't like I grew up wanting to play for the Titans. Like, yeah, that would have been cool, but I wanted to run out of the tee, play for the Vols, and I got to do it, man. And, can be more happy with all the relationships I had and the time I spent there.
Yeah, man.
Tyler, hey, what? Tyler, I know where you're about to go with this because he just mentioned the big games he played in, and I know one of the questions you want to ask him. But before we get there, Jack, so good to talk with you again. I haven't seen you since Kyler's wedding and his bachelor party. We'll leave that one off air. But so yeah. It was fun. Like I was super pumped when Kyler said that y'all were coming on because I hadn't talked with you in a long time, and I even forget, like, what year was it that you had to stop? Was it your junior year?
Yeah, so my junior year, fourth game of the year.
Okay. Yeah.
About that time.
So the question I was going to ask is, did they ever determine if it was like genetics, you were born with it, or were they like, hey, this is from all the football you've played, or was it?
Yeah. So it's one of those weird things. It's a degenerative bone disease. So like, it's probably a little bit of both. It's probably perfect storm. Like my dad had him a little bit in college, not super bad, but he knew on his junior and senior year, he started getting bad. He played at Tennessee Tech. And then like he redshirted and just played. He started 3 years there and didn't play his fifth year because it was kind of getting bad. but it was never something we like talked about. He didn't even like really bring it up to me. And then that just combined with, really playing physical football. Like, I mean, I think being an offensive lineman didn't help it. Like if I would have been a wide receiver, it probably would have been a little more chill.
Right.
But yeah, just kind of the perfect storm, I guess. But I don't really know. It's one of those things too that you try to put off surgery as long as you can, but you ultimately have to have surgery just because it's not one of those like 100% it's going to be better.
Right.
So kind of a ticking time bomb there, but hopefully as we get, science progresses, there'll be more answers as I get older. And like I said, I wouldn't have traded. I wouldn't have changed a thing. So it was, it is what it is.
One more follow-up real quick, then I'll let Kyler ask a question I know he's ready to ask. But did you have any of it in high school whatsoever, or did it all happen in college?
I think I got a couple of the like everyone random stingers in high school, but I remember one my senior year that was like, that hurt crazy, but it really just started like my freshman year wasn't really bad. Like it really wasn't a thing. Sophomore year started to become a thing. And like sophomore spring, it was like, yo, this is not like right. And then kind of did a lot of work rehab over before like camp started. And then we got to camp and it was just from there to the game, I stopped playing. I mean, I was so stiff moving around. I couldn't do anything. My head was like, I was just worried about that and all times. And,
yeah, because that has to be scary. I mean, I know you said you get stingers. We've all had them. We know what it feels. But still, when your body goes numb and limp like that, like it can't be fun at all.
How rapid it got was kind of, I think, what like when Dr. Klink and that is what kind of was like, hey, we need to, we need to check this out. And then, I kind of thought it would be like one of those things, like, all right, we'll figure it out and then we'll be back out there. But it's one of those weird things where they're pretty much like you're done just because you can get one of those weird hits and lose it, like just the nerves, because with the nerves you don't know. So
right.
Yeah. Like I said, there's people that put things in perspective. You see guys like Inky Johnson and like what they've gone through, then you're like, man, like I'm still out here able to, like, I can still play pickup basketball. Like I can do all that. It's just, there's always somebody that's probably got a little worse than you or has gone through what you're going through. So that people like that, like that's somebody that like I watch his videos and stuff. I'm like, man, could be a lot worse.
I love that you say that because, like I said, the couple times I've been around you, you're like the rest of us, like goofball, like to have a good time, but to hear you like be serious about it and have that perspective, man, that's awesome. Like, I mean, I don't really know you, just been around you a couple times, but to hear you have that side, that's incredible because, I mean, I know that, you're, pretty big recruit coming out. I mean, started at UT. I mean, you obviously, I know that was your goal, but I'm guessing there was some part of you that did want to try to chase an NFL dream.
Sure.
So for you to have that perspective, I mean, kudos to you. That's awesome.
Well, man, I mean, you can't, if you live in your shame and you live in your pain and you don't, seek emotional, like that's what I did, man. I tried to just start being emotionally healthy and like kind of like a lot of things I didn't, and I'm outspoken. Like I'm really outspoken about my mental health. Like I just think it's important. It's important if you need somebody to talk to, like therapy, anything like that, man, like go for it. It's just going to help you. And sometimes you need a non-biased opinion from people. Like I said, I have two great parents, but they, sometimes you just need to go to somebody that'll just shoot you straight, and maybe they don't say anything. You just talk to them for an hour. But big fan of that. But yeah, man.
Preach. I love it. I'm right there with you. All right, let's hopefully get a little lighter side.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
I mean, I
like it though. I'm here for it.
I was expecting I love it.
A good answer, but boy, did we get off into the weeds.
No, he crushed it. I love that. You know me, Kyler. I've had my issues, and so I'm right there with you. I'll talk to anybody about mental health and stuff. But all right, ask him about starting at Alabama.
Yeah, so I can ask both of you this honestly, because Dobbs, it wasn't necessarily a start, but it was your first game that you got to play in. was versus Alabama at Alabama. I'm correct in that, right?
No, it was at
Correct.
Oh, it was? I thought okay.
Yeah. So he
got different time.
He got subbed in at Alabama, and then he just time playing.
Yeah, only down 35-0.
I could have sworn your first time.
Game.
I could have sworn your first time was when you were down big, but it was at Nayland. I thought I could have sworn I thought that, but you would know better.
No, that was the next year we played Alabama, and that year we mounted a pretty good comeback.
Yes,
but we couldn't overcome it. But my freshman year was at Alabama. Down just a couple scores.
So what was going through your head when you got in there, Dobbs? Like, I mean, you're just like, let me play ball, or were you nervous, or you like those guys across from me are freaking huge?
That's probably like the chillest time to get your first action, especially at the college level, because obviously a lot goes into it. The nerves are setting. You kind of had a feeling that you're going to play. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So like in that moment, it's like it can't get any worse. So just go play football, enjoy the moment, enjoy the opportunity, and let this be a learning experience for the next year. We mounted several good drives that game. We had a touchdown drive, I think a field goal drive. We put up like 10 points second half. They put up 10, so we tied in the second half. We'll take the positives, right? I think that's really what was going through my head. And I know, just that experience alone, really helped me get a grasp of just, playing football at that level, at the highest level against that competition. And, just how to just go out and trust your reads, trust your preparation, and just go out and have fun with it.
Yeah. And then did you start the following week?
So then, I started for the rest of the season that year. Played at Missouri the next week. Nice gauntlet, number 1 team in the nation. I think Missouri was like number 4 or 5. And then Auburn was the next week at home. They ended up going to the national championship.
Yeah,
I think we had quite the quality of gauntlet of games. We played Vandy the next week. They were like ranked 19, I think. And then we went on the road and beat Kentucky. So yeah, it was a nice little gauntlet, to get introduced or baptized into the SEC for sure.
I think it always turns out where the other West opponent we play, it's like their best season they've ever had.
Always
every year.
As
every
a fan,
year.
yeah, 100%. As a fan, I can jump in and say as a fan, it happens all the time. Like Ole Miss, trash. Ole Miss, dude. But then time we have to play, one time we play them, they got
they're top 10. Top 10.
Yeah. It's
Land
the best
Shark
season they've had in 50 years.
Whatever their name was, yeah.
Coleman Thomas said he was starting at tackle, I think, that game against Ole Miss when y'all played them. I was at Young Life Camp watching it on my phone. It was I think it was like the go pray hour, like where like everyone go off and pray, and I was just over there watching Tennessee get demolished by Ole Miss.
The game,
I remember Coleman Thomas said he thought, like, with that secondary, he's like, I felt like there was 20 people back there in that secondary. It was the Land Shark
on the sideline. I remember that was the game before the game you're talking about when we played Alabama at home that I ended up playing.
Yeah,
it was the game before. So like Worley got hurt and like Peterman went in, and at the end of the game, like Coach Jones was like, "You're playing next week," and I was like, I'm so glad it wasn't this week, because on the sideline, I don't think I saw an open receiver the entire game. It was just clamps. They had a strong front. They had Kandichi brothers up front.
I was about to say,
like they were dominant for sure.
Yeah. Try and block that big ass. Jeez.
Pretty simple, right?
All right, I want to hear what Jack. I got to know what was going on in your head going into Bryant Denny first start ever as a true freshman.
Man, yeah, it was surreal, honestly, and luckily, the great part about that was it was a big game, all that. But the week before, we had been playing Georgia, and I guess midway through the second, before the first half ended, Chance and I were both in together for that whole game. So we had 2 quarters of SEC football we had played. And honestly, like, I might have degraded from that moment. Like it was like we played great. Like we had a great game. Like it was awesome, and like definitely a memory. Like I obviously remember the Hail Mary. I mean, that one was awesome, but that is right there with it because we were down like 20. What were we down at halftime of that game, Josh, before the comeback?
So it was 24-3.
24-3.
Which one?
Georgia.
No. Are you? I thought the
Georgia game was 21-0
at halftime.
No, it was 21-0, and then we scored 2 touchdowns in a row.
Georgia game was 21-0. We scored right before the half. Then we came out of the half, got the ball, went down, and scored. Florida was 24-3.
Whatever. This is bad. I should remember. A couple too many hits on the noggin, Kyler. What do you say, buddy? But anyways, we were down a ton. We came in. We came back. Chance and I got reps in the second half of that game, and then we went to Alabama. So I had a little confidence. I was like, all right, I could do this. And long hair Jack, full flare, just coming out, loving every second of it. But we get down there, and I am super nervous, probably the most nervous I've ever been for a game, just because Kyler can attest to this, for a Tennessee kid, and I don't care what you say, like Murfreesboro, everywhere in Tennessee, maybe parts of Memphis, like they might have some Ole Miss fans over there, but everyone's a Tennessee fan. So like I grew up wanting to be Tennessee. I wanted, like, this was it. I watched every Alabama Tennessee game, probably from the age 8 to 9, when I was really could understand what was going on. Like this was it. And then we get out there, and man, we played them close. Like it was down to like the last 2 drives, and we were hanging in there. We were fighting. It's hilarious though, because like I was expecting, because we played Georgia and they were talking cash the whole game. Like they were talking that cash. Like I was out there like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I was trying to block, man. And then like I remember coming off after my first series at that Georgia week before, and Marcus going, Coach Mahoney, Jack don't know nothing about what he's doing on the screens. And I was like, I don't, but dude, just shut up, man. Build me up right now. I need to build up. Like, I don't know, but I'm going to release. I'm going to run. So, anyways, we get to that week, we're playing pretty good, but it's funny, every third down, like Alabama that was when they had Ashawn Robertson, who looked like he was 35 and had
Rick
a mortgage.
Ross looking mug. Yeah.
I have a baby face now. I still had a baby face then. And I was just like, oh, and I was like, oh God, like, here we go. And, but they don't say a word, man. They don't say a word. The Alabama guys don't say a word. They get out there, they do their job, they get off the field. Third down, I'd be like, here they come, Chance. And it'd be a whole new group of the speed guys. And I'd be like, here you go. Get ready, buddy. Start setting. And man, it was great though. Great experience. I'll never forget smelling the cigars, walking out of there after the loss. Like, but just like I get goosebumps thinking about that right now, just because like, even though we lost, like it'll always be a memory. I really wish we would have got it, because like I would have got the trifecta, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. But it was a battle till the end, and I'll never forget it. And that place is a coliseum too. Like you walk in there and like it's football. Like that place is all about it. And I always just thought it was cool how, as much as I hate Alabama, like they don't say a word. They come out there, they play football, and that's it. And it is what it is. But awesome memory.
That third down package was not a joke.
I'd be like, here they come, Chance, buddy. Hey, it's like 7 different guys.
Yeah,
it would be like first and second down. They just have 300 to 320, just grass fed, just behemoths out there clogging all the gaps. Third down, 3rd and 4+, it's like 225 to 250 speed rushers, 4 of them.
Oh,
yo, where have y'all been?
Yeah,
and Payne, the freshman. We'll put the freshman Payne in, who turns out to be a freaking animal.
Hey,
like he's just that nose just shoving people. But hey, I do want to say one more thing about that game that's hilarious. Before the game, we're warming up, like before we had our pads, like right when we get there, and I look across the field, and I'm picking out the guys, like, because I did all my research. I was like, I knew, and you just knew who their players were because they're all, they're all they're all guys getting drafted. And I see this one guy, I was like, who's that DN? Like, he's got to be one of their speed guys. And he turns around, it's freaking Derrick Henry just standing there. And that's when I realized how big that dude was. I was like, hey, good luck, boys, on the D line. Have fun with that today. Meet that in the A gap. Like, I'll stay over here with my Bohemian Split. I'll have fun with that.
So it was funny because Kyler didn't even notice it, but it's his background picture on Twitter. And I was looking at it for some reason, and it's that game. And I was like, hey, bro, the guy that you're attempting to block or about to block is Rashaan Evans. So as a Titans fan, who's their middle linebacker right now, like Rashaan Evans was maybe like a freshman or sophomore, and they were just bringing him off the edge at that time. So just talking about the people they could bring in. But as a fan, I'm going to prompt that I've told Kyle this. That year, if I'm not mistaken, was the Florida game at Florida. And it was, I thought it was one of the,
oh no, that was that year. That was that
yeah,
year.
and it was like, I thought that was one of the best offensive game plans I have ever seen. And then to follow it back up at Alabama with you and Chance starting with two freshmen. I remember watching these games. I'm like, first off, Coach DeBoard was like, I loved the whole game plan. I loved all of it. And then watching you two, and I'll always tell Kyle, like, the double pulls, like, I mean, it was like majestic. I remember talking to him about that game. I was like, and I said, Jack and Chance, for true freshmen, I said, these boys are players. I was like, we're in good hands for the next couple of years.
So, hey, sorry we let y'all down.
No, not at all.
No, you didn't.
But no,
but
honestly, I think there's something to the fact of being a freshman and the innocence of just not really knowing but going out there and playing.
Yeah.
That I think, like, I don't know if, I don't think I lost that by any means, but like, I think there's something to that. Like, just going out there and playing ball and kind of like I said, there might have been a screenplay where I wasn't really sure, but I'm just going to go out there and run around 100 miles an hour. And I definitely think there's something to that. And I think that's why we did have the success that we did. And the thing that people forget too is Chance and I, there was four linemen that came and all were good. It was Drew Richmond, Vinzel, me, and Chance, but we both came early. So having that spring before kind of made us where we had built that trust a little bit, because when you got to do spring practice with an O-line, you kind of get to build that camaraderie a little bit. So for guys like Kyler and just learning the offense and everything, and Dylan Wiseman and Coleman at center and all that, that really helped getting that spring in there. And I tell people, if you want to play early, like go do that. Like, ain't nothing good happening unless you're a baseball guy or something, or track. Like, ain't nothing good happening that second semester of senior year. You ain't missing nothing.
No, I think you did make a good point of being like young and naive in a sense, because Dobbs can even say this. Before that year in that game, we never believed that we could beat Alabama. Like, there were a ton of guys on the team that were just scared of the guys that were lining up against, and just thought there's no way that we can beat this juggernaut. And that Georgia game, like you said, just gave us so much confidence. And, I feel like everyone, when we went out there, that was why that game was so close. When we went out there, everyone thought we were going to win. Like, we just beat Georgia. Why can't we beat Alabama? Like, it's a definite possibility. So I think you're right in saying, like, being naive almost helped in that situation.
Yep. 100%. And then, like, you add in, and I definitely think that's what it was for. Well, we're just wide-eyed, happy to be there. Like, let's go, let's do it, let's go for it. But and then having the, like, just for me, so I have so much respect for that game, and I know who's watching it. Like, I watched that game, and just like it meant a lot. And I think that's another aspect of it. Like, meant a lot to me. Like, being and there's no knock on anybody if you're from Alpharetta or whatever. Like, and you're coming to Tennessee, like, it's all good. But like, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all good, but being a Tennessee kid, growing up in Tennessee and watching that, like, and dreaming about that, like, it makes the moment even more important to you, I think.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so since we're talking about, you guys starting then and stuff, and I don't know if you ever asked Josh this on the first time that you had him on, because I listened to the pod, but I don't remember. But I mean, you're talking about you're young and naive and you don't feel the pressure. But Josh, like, what does it honestly feel like being the quarterback at the University of Tennessee when you literally have these psycho fans? Like, and I know you guys felt it too as players, but I mean, being the quarterback at this university, like, it has to be awesome, but it has to be like pretty tough too.
It's all awesome. It's a lot of fun, honestly, because I mean, when you play quarterback, right, you start for most of us, you start playing the position so young, that like the expectations of a season, I mean, they've always have been on your shoulders, whether it's when you're 6 years old and you got your best friend's moms, praying that you'll do something cool, or when you're in college, and you're walking around campus and you're the guy, and it's basically like how you play, decides, if you guys gonna be successful on Saturday or not, and you give your team a chance to win every time you step on the field. So it's really a blessing. It's a lot of fun, and whether that's in the wins or in the losses, it's all a part of the experience. I think. So it was a blast. It was a blast. I know as we're talking about, right, we're talking about a couple of the games that we left slip away, and it's still cool to reminisce on those. It's also really cool to reminisce on all the big wins that we had.
Yeah.
All the great games that we had, all the records that we shattered during our time on campus, the numbers we put up. So, all in all, whether it was, at the moment, something that was looked at, as not a good game of performance, or whether it was a great performance, for me, it was all the same. It was all a great memory, just because I had envisioned being a starting quarterback at a big time university since I was 6 years old. So to be able to live through that, as Jack's saying, growing up watching, even though I'm in Alpharetta, I still grew up watching Tennessee, Alabama play, on the third Saturday in October every year, right? I watched the Florida Georgia game, Florida Tennessee game, growing up watching those games in SEC country, and then living through those experiences, was a joy, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah. Josh is being humble about the fact that like there's definitely times, Josh is one of those guys he never let like what was going on the outside. You never saw it on him. He was always going to be Josh, but he's also the guy that like we'd lose to, we'd have a tough loss at home, and Josh is the guy that still stays out there and signs autographs for an hour after. So like, it's hard to find guys like that, but it's also like when you get somebody like that for an O-lineman like Kyler and I, it makes you want to go to battle for him, because I don't know about you, Kyler, but after we got if we got our butts kicked by somebody, I wasn't sitting out there trying to be like, hey, yeah, whatever. Like, but this guy, Josh, who was the face of the program, who may have had his best game, may have not had his best game, didn't matter. He was going to be out there doing that. And it makes it a lot easier to, go to war for somebody like that.
Heck yeah. I love that Josh was there. That way I didn't feel obligated to go out there. I'm like, bro, they want to see Josh. They don't want to see me.
Hey, ain't nobody want no Curvison autograph besides me, bro.
Saved a couple sacks.
We had the life in the shadows.
Here and there.
Were you talking about Kyler left and the whole lines on Sports Center, hanging out with Matt Berry and them on big time in everyone.
I know. It's freaking ridiculous. I mean, you want to get some shine, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you leave, everybody's on ESPN. Jack, you were part of that.
You see Thomas Edwards up on the big screen. That was fun, though. That was awesome. We had a good time with that, because it was anywhere we went, because we always went out and knocked. Like, Josh was big on taking us out and the O-line, and everywhere it was always like. But to Josh's credit, I never was there when he was like, no. And like, even we talked about our camp, like I said, hey man, I don't really have a thing set up to like do pictures, but afterwards, just wanted to hang out. He's like, we'll hang out until the last person leaves, just because that's the type of guy he is. And I think the world of you, big guy, big Joshua.
Your head gonna be able to fit through the door now, Josh?
Yeah. Now we're
oh my gosh,
boosting him up.
Boosting me, right? I gotta put on a show at this camp, right? No, in all seriousness, no. It's exciting to be able to like team up with like Jack and do a camp, because like as we said, we play football for a lot of things, like whether it's, the joy in the game, the camaraderie, the big moments, the big games. And like for each of us, we know like along our journey, however far you make it, there's always been certain people that you can pick out, right, that helped you along your journey. A camp you went to, experience you had, seeing a professional athlete, in the mall or going to a college game, right? So we've all had those experiences. And so who are we not to give back to the next generation, give them those experiences, those opportunities, to just interact with people that have accomplished their goals and dreams or are still in the process of doing it. So that's the joy in doing the camps. And I'm glad Jack is putting on his first of many youth football camps that he'll hopefully have, down the road. And I'm excited to be a part of it this summer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great way to finish. You start with the camp, end with the camp. Super excited for you guys. Super excited to actually see you face to face.
Yes.
At the camp and get to work with the kiddos. Jack, you promoted what you got going on. Dobbs, I know you got a brand now. I saw you had like a volunteer suit coming out. What else you got going on, bud?
Those are the main two. So that was Reveal Suit line. They actually just teamed up with University of Tennessee. So they do custom suits, blazers, whatever you like in the professional world, women's and men's. And on the inline, you can get them all decked out in checkerboard, Power T, University of Tennessee, lady volunteer swag, whatever you're looking for. They kind of do it. So it's been pretty cool. Got a suit, got a blazer from them. And then of course, Astro brand is doing really well right now. It has landed officially. Jack repping merch, Kyler repping merch. Reed, we gotta get you some merch. We'll get you a hat for the next show. So you can be rocking it as well. So I appreciate all the support. It's good to have good people around you that support you. It's cool, Kyler, having us on for the camp. Cool. It's really cool always seeing you guys rocking the hats and everything. So I appreciate that, Kyler.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys coming on, man.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, whatever platform you're using. Don't forget to rate and subscribe, like and subscribe on YouTube. Let your friends and family know about us. Let us know what you think about the podcast. As always, we are presented by Bet Online, so go check them out also. And you can contact us. Have a Gmail, believein.tennesseefootball@gmail.com, and a phone number, 865-322-9232. You can also find us on social media. I am at Kyler Curbison, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And rbacon27 for Reed on Twitter. So, let us know what you think. And as always, go Vols.